last step. Was that heavy? Welcome to day 25 of 25 days of cafes. We're at Cheongsu-dang, but we're at the Garusu길 slash Shinsa branch. This is called the Cheongsu-dang Gallery. It is definitely a lot bigger, it's more vertical space. Technically, Vlogmas is supposed to only be for the first 24 days, but I feel like we should do kind of like just talk about all the rankings. We're just gonna review all the scores. Also talk about like the top from each category from our criteria. Starting off with just average scores, I think I want to give kind of a little disclaimer that we realized after we gave all the ratings for all the cafes, even though we really liked certain cafes, because they weren't work accessible, we gave them a really low rating, and that really affected the average. Some of the top 3 for the average scores were kind of unexpected. In third place is with a grand total of 4.25 out of 5, Grandpa's Factory. So that was day 6. I think at that point, because it was still kind of the first few rounds of doing this, our perception of each category was a little bit warped because we were still kind of establishing our standards at that point. But I think Grandpa's Factory was still a pretty unique cafe overall. I think what helped it the most was we were pretty generous about the work accessibility. Uniqueness did give it a lot of points too.
And it definitely was the most work accessible one, I think, out of all of our cafes.
I guess my favorite thing about this particular cafe was the whole idea of it used to be like an old abandoned building, but they reused, reduced, and recycled it into an actual cafe, and they did a pretty good job of doing that and sticking to that concept. And also it's kind of cool to see the treehouse. In second place with a grand total of 4.3, Bamboo. This one we were sort of surprised about. I mean, at the time we did really like the food, even if it was a little bit pricier. It definitely is a pretty unique experience. Like, there's so many different floors you can go on, each with its own kind of different vibe, but it still stuck to the theme well. The only thing was just how inaccessible it was just to get there. A lot of squeaking on the bus ride. But personally, I don't think it's worth the hurdle to go all the way there again. Like, maybe once, but not more than that. Last, but definitely not least, in first place, with a grand total of 4.35. I'll give you some time to make your guesses right now. ODT. I think the time of day you go is crucial too, and this goes for all the other cafes we went to. Like, if we went during really busy hours, that definitely affected how we felt. Just the lighting in general also probably affected our scores, especially for like aesthetics or work accessibility. But I think we did go at a very good time of the day. Fresh in the morning, right when it opened, there was like one other person who came 30 minutes after we got there. That really contributed to just the good work vibes. It's just very serene. Everything was really clean. Drinks were really good. It's not one I'm surprised about, and I think it does deserve to be in the top 3. I think the other 2 were a little bit skewed by just the work accessibility scores. Now going into the top cafe for each category, starting with taste. Oh, it's a tie. So there's a 3-way tie. All of them got 5 out of 5. First was ODT. Definitely the creme brulee drink. Yeah, the chai latte. Those 2 were bussin'. I'm like, I can't stop thinking about it.
They weren't that expensive either in comparison to some of the other places we went to. I think it was a good price and really good drinks for it.
I feel like I say this for every cafe that had good drinks, but it really was a good balance of sweet and coffee. The next one we have is peach gray. I wouldn't say I like the drinks the most compared to the souffle pancakes. That is what won it a lot of taste points because it was so fluffy. It wasn't really sweet, which I think at that point, that was day 17. We were getting kind of tired of just eating only sweet things too. It was like slightly sweet, but also a good balance of savory as well. Just melts in your mouth. We said that day we would probably go back just for that too.
Honestly, the drinks are still pretty good for it too, especially for a place that doesn't focus, I think, as much on like food and drinks, since their concept is watercolor cafe.
Last one was Fritz Coffee. I think in terms of specifically coffee, this place is very good for people who are crazy about coffee. This one definitely had kind of the richest tasting coffee. It wasn't really bitter because a lot of people just think, oh, good coffee is bitter. But no, they did a very good job of making it very flavorful. The price point was also pretty good as well.
I really liked Cafe Otter's drinks. I think the only thing that knocked it down in taste was the food. Purely drinks itself, the coffee there I think was one of my favorite coffees. Just want to give it a shout out.
You think you're smart, yeah?
Next, in work accessibility, also a three-way tie, but no fives were given for this. The first is Fritz Coffee. The ambiance was good, a lot of tables, definitely outlets, and a lot of people do go there to work. I even saw like some study groups. Next, we have Bamboo. I think just the amount of seating, tables there were made it easy to work in, and third floor, that was, you could tell it was made a little bit more for studying or reading or doing work. The next one is Grandpa's Factory. Talking about all the tables, there were multiple floors, outlets were very accessible. The lighting was also good because they had a lot of natural light. I think that was one of the few places where we actually did work, and I was pretty productive that day. Next, for aesthetics, there were also no fives given for aesthetics, but the closest was 4.75, and there is another three-way tie.
Are you kidding? Really?
First, we got our boy ODT. Colors were very synchronous. It was minimalistic, but not in a very empty way. It still felt very full, and that helped it really bring it to life. And there were little like corners that had their own little accents. Next, we have Beach Gray. In a similar vein, it was minimalistic, but also in a very full way. All the furniture was very cute. It really did fit kind of the, oh, you're working in a cute little cafe that's about painting. And I think those aesthetics really did contribute to the experience overall, and it really helped you feel like you were healing, even if you just sat down and just did nothing. The last one for aesthetics, 청수당, fit the Hanok theme very well. It was very spacious, and I think that does add to the aesthetics because everything feels so open, which is kind of what a Hanok should feel like. They did a good job of making it feel a little more connected to nature. There was that little outside area. On the way to the bathrooms, it was decorated according to the theme, and everyone takes pictures at the very front of the cafe. Next is uniqueness. We also have a three-way tie, all with the scores of 5. First, we have Winter Village. I mean, it's dogs, and there's Samoyeds too. Pretty sure this is the only Samoyed cafe in Korea. Just the experience too. I think something we were really impacted by was just how well they got along with the employees and just kind of that wholesome relationship. It was like you're watching like a slice of life K-drama. Next, we have Aqua Garden. I think it is pretty much the only cafe of its kind that has a bunch of fish tanks in it. You felt like you were submerged underwater the whole time. They shot out mist from the ceiling. You can even buy fish and fish products. The other place that got a 5 was Grandpa's Factory. Big, turned from a factory, treehouse, just how they had a bunch of different aesthetics as well. Last but not least, we have bathrooms. This was kind of the dark horse category recommended to me by my sister. A two-way tie, both scores of 5. The first one is ODT. I think it was really cute how the bathroom kind of seemed like a little hobbit door. It was very small, but then you go inside and it's like this weird experience of like there's like a random rock or a tree bark on the ground. It was very clean too, and it was a lot bigger than I would have expected it to be. They also had posters stuff that were hinting at their own design brand. So the other place, New Dake, the bathroom was really big. There were multiple stalls too, which gave it points, and it was really clean. The sink was like, the handle was like a game controller. It just like stuck out like this, and then you just like, you can move it any direction. So I guess just the last few things, I want to give a huge shout out to everyone who participated in the series with me, especially Allison. She was here for literally more than half of these cafes, like 75% actually. I really enjoyed making this series. I really love cafes, but I think I am going to take a break from eating sweets. Feel free to comment your favorite cafe and why. Let me know any other ideas for videos. I will be posting more vlogs in the future, so make sure to like and subscribe and turn on the alarm notifications. Oh, and Merry Christmas, my favorite holiday.